It's time once again for your weekly dose of amazing facts. Let's go. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh. I've worked with them many times and the meals that they've sent me are always fast, easy, and delicious. And they make it easy for someone like me who isn't too experienced with cooking. This summer, HelloFresh is here to take the work out of eating well. Reach your goals with delicious calorie smart and protein smart lunch and dinner options, plus new vegan recipes as well. It's nice out, and figuring out what's for dinner is not exactly at the top of anyone's summer activity wish list. But HelloFresh delivers mouth-watering, chef-crafted recipes and fresh ingredients to your door, so you can spend summer doing, well, whatever you want. No matter your lifestyle, you'll always find delicious recipes on the HelloFresh menu, like pescatarian and veggie. You can even swap proteins and sides to make recipes exactly how you want it. And if you're in a rush, look for quick and easy recipes on the HelloFresh menu, including fast and fresh options ready in 15 minutes or less. HelloFresh is your recipe for success. So if you're interested, go to HelloFresh.com and use code Santoro16 at checkout for 16 free meals plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com and use code Santoro16 at checkout for 16 free meals plus free shipping. All right, let's start the video. Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. Burritos are a popular food for astronauts in space because it's easy to eat and doesn't produce crumbs that could float around and damage equipment. The company Hormel Foods, which makes canned spam, asks their employees to refer to spam emails as unwanted emails. Diana Budisevlevich, also known as the female Schindler, undertook one of the greatest humanitarian acts in World War II by saving over 7,700 children from concentration camps in the area of what is modern-day Croatia. The disease with the highest mortality rate that's not inherited is spongiform encephalopathies, aka prion diseases, which are transmissible brain diseases. The mortality rate is 100%. A 28-year-old kidnapping victim was jailed after he tried to extort his kidnappers. He told them, quote, "Call me if you want to finesse a trial. Either you cough up some bread or sit in the feds for 20 years. Your choice, my boy. IDGAF. You know what that means. Beavers' teeth are yellow in color because of the iron in their tooth enamel. Austria's coat of arms is the last to feature a hammer and sickle in Europe. NBA legend Paul Pierce was stabbed 11 times in 2000 and yet still played every single game of the 2000 to 2001 season. Kevin Hines once attempted to end his life by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, except he was rescued by a sea lion who nudged his body and kept him afloat until he was rescued by the Coast Guard. Miraculously, he survived and he is now a suicide prevention speaker. Bolaji Badejo played the Xenomorph in the original Alien in 1979. At 6 foot 10 inches tall, the Nigerian visual artist's height and slender body convinced Ridley Scott that he was the perfect choice for the villain. Art Spiegelman, best known for the Pulitzer-winning graphical novel Mouse, also created the Garbage Pail Kids line of trading cards. There's an isolated extinct volcano crater in Papua New Guinea that's home to more than 40 unique species of mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians, including the world's smallest parrot. Healthy guinea pigs excrete at least 50 fecal pellets a day. Imagine pooping 50 times a day. Turkeys actually blush when they're excited. That's it. That's the fact. It would have taken 125 years for the concrete that made up the Hoover Dam to cool if it was poured as one continuous pour. Instead, giant concrete blocks and columns were poured and then cooled by a series of internally contained pipes of cold water, greatly reducing cooling time. Production on the 80s TV series Elf was so stressful that Max Wright, who played the father Will Tanner, once physically attacked Elf. Producers had to jump in and pull Wright off of Elf. The famous Aerosmith song Walk This Way was inspired by the Walk This Way joke from the movie Young Frankenstein. Jules Brunet was the historic figure who inspired the film The Last Samurai. In 1868, this decorated captain, who was also a painter, decided to unofficially stay in Japan and fight with the Shogun forces against the Meiji Empire. Anterograde amnesia is a condition where the sufferer completely forgets very recent events, yet can learn and retain new skills. This This, even though they forget every day that they had learned those skills yesterday. The Fast and the Furious movie series is called Wild Speed in Japan. Some of the titles also include spoilers for major plot points as well. A South Korean doctor named Hwang Woo-suk was a scientist who cloned a dog in 2005 named Snuppy, an Afghan hound. He also tried human cloning, but with no success. Blackjack Pizza was founded in 1983 by a former Domino's employee named Vince Shemuel, who wanted to give Colorado an alternative to his former employer. He named the pizza restaurant after the blackjack game to indicate that it was fast food and because blackjack and dominoes are both games. Groundhogs and woodchucks are the same thing. There's no difference between the two, and in fact, the term woodchuck and groundhog are interchangeable. Despite the popular belief, it's actually the opposite. A frog that is gradually heated in water will jump out, while a frog placed into already boiling water will die immediately and not jump out. Tina Turner had her US citizenship relinquished back in 2013 and lived in Switzerland for almost 30 years until her recent death. The number of priests in the US have been down 60% in the last 50 years, leaving over 3,500 churches without one. In 2001, an artist covered a house in Powell, Wyoming with 10,000 pounds of government-issued pepper jack cheese. The town was so excited about the cheese house that they even threw a parade and crowned a cheese king and queen. Wow, how cheesy. Paper airplanes were invented way before the word airplane even existed. In fact, kids and adults of all ages have been folding and flying paper airplanes for more than 150 years. Approximately 13% of finishers of the Boston Marathon get hyponatremia caused by overconsumption of fluids, which is when the concentration of sodium in your blood is abnormally low. When a star like our sun dies, it doesn't explode into a supernova or collapse into a black hole. Instead, it gently sheds its outer layers, which form a beautiful cloud called a planetary nebula, while the dying star's core becomes a white dwarf. Despite being organisms with highly intricate nervous systems and an impressive level of intelligence, many octopus species only live roughly 1 to 5 years. Asbestos is a naturally occurring mineral which has to be mined, and millions of tons of it are still being mined today. The 2008 financial crisis led to a significant shortage of coins in the United States. The crisis caused many people to hoard their spare change, which reduced the amount of coins in circulation. As a result, the Federal Reserve had to increase its production of coins in order to meet the demand. To enhance the pleasures of sacred liquors, the Mayans used to ingest them in a way that many would consider unconventional, including through means of enema. That means they put it in their butt. The British Post Office falsely prosecuted over 700 postmasters for fraud and theft due to a faulty computer system. The cases constitute the most widespread miscarriage of justice in British legal history, spanning a period of over 20 years. In the 1800s in New York City, pigs roamed freely and ate trash in the streets. When the city government attempted to ban them in 1821, pig owners refused and rioted, causing the government to suspend their efforts. Over the next 28 years, owners continued to riot anytime the city tried to ban pigs. Because trademarks became so generic, which means companies can lose rights to the mark, transformers no longer transform in packaging and some marketing. They're listed as converting instead. Inostransavia were mammal-like reptiles which lived before dinosaurs, and some of the mammal-like reptiles evolved into modern mammals. The Club dei Bruti, also known as the World Association of Ugly People, based in the Italian town of Piobico, which has 30,000 members worldwide and fights to recognize ugly people's worth, is a society that values one's looks. That's the one that your mom's a part of. Boom, roasted. Gabe Saunier was a man who started off as a janitor in a Louisiana elementary school one day in 1985, when he was inspired by the then principal to take up teaching. Gabe was 39 years old when he started studying for a teaching degree. He's now the principal of the elementary school. The brown snake eagle is a bird specifically adapted to target a variety of venomous snakes, such as the puff adder, and has even been known to prey upon fully grown black mambas. In a study conducted by Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services, it was found that more than 17 million adults in the US had an alcohol use disorder, and that the top 5 occupations in alcohol abuse are miners, construction workers, food service workers, lawyers, and doctors. Pennsylvania allows vertical-oriented license plates for motorcycles, with numbers being read top down rather than left to right. On the 6th of of June in 2011, an unnamed woman and man in Gatineau, Canada were killed when a 200-kilogram flying bear crashed through their windshield before passing through the rear window. The 200-kilogram or 440-pound black bear was sent airborne by a car in front of the SUV after it had stepped into a path of traffic on Highway 148. There's an international treaty preventing the use of environmental modification techniques or weather warfare. In order to obtain silk from the silkworm, it's boiled or gassed inside their cocoons. 6,600 cocoons equaling 1 kilogram or 2.2 pounds of silk are created from this. Archduke Franz Ferdinand killed almost 300,000 animals. Ferdinand was an avid hunter and tallied his kills in a massive journal. Hello, PETA! Ricard Oste developed oat milk while studying lactose intolerance at Lund University in Sweden. Limp Bizkit was meant to be a terrible name so that people would look at their album, see the name, and then go, oh, this name sucks. Limp Bizkit making fun of themselves has been a recurring theme throughout the band's entire career. Tupac and Michael Jackson almost collaborated on a song, but it fell through when Jackson failed to show up for a studio session. Now that would have been freaking epic. And that's it. Thanks again to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. If you guys are interested, make sure to click the link in the description and use code Santoro16 at checkout. Other than that, make sure you browse my videos if you want to see more content. Make sure to follow and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. And I will see you back here next Saturday. Thanks for being here, guys. See you next time.